A wave of global condemnation after a New Year's Day attack on a crowd of revelers in New Orleans. At least 15 people were killed and dozens of others injured. The incident took place in the Louisiana city's famed French Quarter just a few hours past midnight. China has extended its sympathy, adding that it will always oppose what it calls violent and terrorist acts targeting civilians. In France, the president remembering a city well loved by the French and sharing in the sorrow of victims' families. The British Prime Minister describing the incident as shockingly violent and horrific. The European Union, meanwhile, stressing there is no excuse for such violence. The suspect was killed in a shootout with police following the attack. The FBI is treating this as a possible act of terrorism. Initial findings revealing the suspect is a U.S. Army veteran from Texas named Shamsuddin Jabbar. He had served in Afghanistan. The FBI says weapons and potential improvised bombs were found in the vehicle, as well as an ISIS flag hanging on the truck. 2 potentially explosive devices were found in the French Quarter after the incident. Caroline Malone joins us live from Washington, D.C. Caroline, what's the latest on the FBI's investigations into this incident in New Orleans?
So for just over 24 hours, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies have been looking into the background of this suspect to try and find out how he could potentially have been radicalized, whether there's any actual terror links. You know, one of the sort of early signs that we heard on New Year's Day was that there was an ISIS flag on the pickup truck, which of course would be suggestive that there was a link to that group. We've also heard later on New Year's Day from President Biden himself, who spoke in the evening on Wednesday to say that he'd heard from law enforcement agencies, security agencies, that Jabbar, the suspect, had actually posted onto social media some apparent terror-linked type videos, which suggestive that he could have been radicalized. So we're getting these hints at the moment that there is this terror link, but certainly not a full picture at the moment. You know, the authorities looking into Jabbar have been looking into his home area, his neighborhood in Houston, where he is known to have lived. He had an ex-wife and 2 daughters. The husband of his ex-wife has said that they did know that he converted to Islam, but not that he was radicalized. They didn't have any sort of information, at least publicly, on that. But also looking into, you know, how he might have transitioned from someone who was in the US Army. He was a member who was an IT specialist. He also served for about a year in Afghanistan, but not in combat roles. He was known to have a discharge from the army for being found under the influence on the base. But other than that, you know, publicly, we are still very much waiting for more information as to how this person could have gone from someone who was described by a schoolmate as a cheerful, normal guy to potentially being radicalized.
Caroline, the link not just with terror organizations, but also with another incident, an explosion of a Cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Has anything on that potential link been revealed?
So this Cybertruck explosion did happen also on New Year's Day. And one of the links that has been revealed so far is that both vehicles were rented on a service called Turo, where people can go and rent vehicles at relatively short notice. Both vehicles were actually rented through that service. One in Houston, Texas, that was the pickup truck that was then driven, it appears, into Louisiana to New Orleans and then used in this horrific New Year's Eve, New Year's Day attack. Then we've got this Cybertruck, this Tesla Cybertruck, that exploded outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Now, Tesla and Elon Musk have been very quick to come out and say that it's not connected to the vehicle itself, that in fact authorities have confirmed that there were explosives, there was gas gas canisters found on the site of the car, also fireworks, suggestive that someone might have been planning something, might have been planning to explode this vehicle outside the site. And also, saying that actually security officials have assured us that the vehicle actually kept the fire intact. So it could have been a lot worse had the vehicle not been stronger in terms of its form. But we don't know much more than this potential link of the two rental car agencies, but also the company have come out and said that this is mere coincidence, and of course that they are fully cooperating with the police.
Oh, thanks, Caroline Malone reporting live to us there from Washington, D.C.